Welcome back, Gravitating Away family. I'm laughing because the people that we would want to stand up with Kyrie Irving is not the people that you're about to see now. And please forgive me. I got my little young man with me, so he's going to be in the background. It's unprofessional, but I'm not no professional journalist. I'm just a regular brother out here doing this thing. But Stephen Jackson announces that he's going to stand with Kyrie Irving. I know a lot of you forgetful Negroes out there are going to forget everything else that this man is detrimental towards and say, yeah, that's right, he's standing with Kyrie. That's because the rest of the coons on the plantation didn't do it. So him saying he'll stand out with Kyrie, it looks very appealing to cheer it on. This is the same brother that threw your sister Maria Taylor in the back door while saluting Rachel Nichols. You know, the Caucasian so-called sister that basically spoke out of line about Maria's position with ESPN. Don't matter what's true or not. I understand anything that's a W in our corner. Most of the times, I'm going to be silent on the issues I don't agree with because this community takes too much L's for me to worry about how and who gets a job based off their skin color. I say, so what? They've been doing that type of nepotism forever. That's the name of those folks. You know what folks I'm speaking of. That's the name of their ball game. You at a job, you see your boss, nephew or son, he's over you. He's some young guy fresh out of high school or college. You got the experience, the skills that over qualifies you over that fool. But that nepotism works. Or it might just be someone that looks like your boss who's in those shoes because the stereotype is that skin builds the narrative that you're no better than that fool across the board. So when I see this, okay, daddy, hold on, little man. We got to be this, got to have him right under us. But check me out. Forgive me for that. That is my son, and I got to do my thing. But to see Stephen Jackson standing with Kyrie will not absolve me watching this man run across the borders of Texas, where he's from, to preach check-in politics with O-Block. Where your boy Killer Gorilla, Farilla, King Von stems from, where the Chicagoans. Shout out to Chicago. I used to live there for so many years. Shout out to Chicago. But I'm just saying, where the Farilla Gorilla Killers are, check in with O-Block. Forget the artistic folks that are there, the hardworking people that are there, the people that could use help or assistance. The great tradition of Chicago. I don't got to say much about it. That's the Windy City for a reason. That name holds weight because it's a great freaking network of folks trying to make it. But who does Stephen Jackson stand with over there? Not those folks. He stood with Kyrie Irving. I'm sorry, he stood with O-Block. He skipped past the kids that could use his help. He skipped past the victims' mothers and families. He skipped past the oppressed so-called people that are black men and women like me and you. He skipped them to preach check-in politics. Now we're supposed to give him a round of applause because Stephen Jackson stands with Kyrie Irving. Well, brother, let me tell you why it's easy for you to say you stand with Kyrie Irving. Plus, by the way, you make sure you did it in a tweet. You can say you stand with Kyrie Irving because you've been doing your podcasting thing. And shouts out to you because more black men and women needs to have their own platforms. But you didn't speak like that, sir, while you was cooning and buck dancing at ESPN. So you're teaching our men, while I agree, yes, you can speak on the things that you want to speak about on your own platform, but while you're in Master's house, is hush up, shut up, and dance. And instead of siding with my sister Maria Taylor, I have to stand with the Rachel Nichols of the world, a woman whose family has celebrity status. And you wonder how she got her ESPN job. Yeah, let's pretend it's not because of her connections and who her family was, yet she wants to come at Maria Taylor for the same thing in terms of her qualities of being black, and that's why they projected her to the position she was in. If that's true, so what? Most of the folks at ESPN who are Caucasian are there because somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. So it's like the pot calling the kettle black. But when we had that situation arriving, Stephen Jackson chose to stand with Rachel Nichols. Now he's standing with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie, who I used to be on yachts with a bunch of snow bunnies. Kyrie, who I never used to talk about this until I quote unquote started learning about myself. And while I applaud Kyrie for standing up and speaking on things that he knows is not what the narrative in the media is painting of him, my brother, you still sat down and kissed the ring. Actually, you knelt down and kissed the ring. These people always will teach you about who to respect and who to fear. Now, I give him his credit for standing up longer than most of these coons in that plantation does. But nonetheless, Mr. Kyrie Irving, you sat down and kissed the ring because a lot of you Negroes forgot who gives you paychecks. A lot of you Negroes forgot companies like Nike endorses you, now suspended you. See, all the money in the world, you guys are still afraid to leave Master's house and plantation, and this attachment that has been nothing but detrimental has been leading us down and down and down. You guys refuse, or rather be afraid, to stay away from it. If you have been learning, as you say, of who you are, let me tell you something, folks. I remember being a young man and knowing who I was. Of course, I'm not gonna go wild out at the job, but you better believe I ain't kiss no ass. You better believe even with my lowly check that's compared to these millionaires, knowing if I lose this check, it could have affected me, I still didn't do that. I let my intellect do the talking. I studied the laws and have the measures to know how to take this further up if the wrong things were done to me. These folks are not even in the positions me and you are in terms of worried about our bills, paycheck to paycheck, things of that nature. They're not even in that position. They are freaking millionaires, and you can smell the fear on these Negroes. You can smell the fear when it's all said and done. They kiss the ring, baby. They kiss the ring. Massa always reminds them who's in charge. Who's in charge? So while I respect Kyrie Irving for being one of few to stand up as best as he could, end of the day, he still kissed the ring. And you might add, oh, why you getting on the brother? At least he's trying. Well, the one thing you guys are forgetting, these guys have the powers me and you do not have. These guys have the influence in the mass stage appeal that we don't have. And yet they still kiss the ring and bend down the massa. Not one time you've seen these guys hold a strong conversation of taking their talents like your boy LeBron did to South Beach, but taking their talents and build something that will sustain longevity through the course of patience, allowing that entrepreneur goal to exceed expectations of thinking it's not going to be better than the NBA, but pass the realms of the NBA and become something of substance. You're going to have kids watching people they idolize and want to be like them. Imagine how those kids look at your athletes who have their own platforms. It don't matter how quote unquote janky, because you know the first people that's going to talk about it is other black people. It's not going to be the white folks that looks down on these endeavors. It's always black people. They talk about us building our own. The minute we do, they talk about how good enough it's not, how janky it looks, how unprofessional it seems. But nobody gives it the time to grow. Everything needs legs to grow. And once something like that, of that power, of that mass appeal takes effect and grow, who cares if it takes 10, 20 years? At least we can say we have our own platform to speak and say what we want, and we can implement the same rules that they do to us when we're in their house. And to a certain regard, how could I not respect people like that? How could I not respect people who stay on code and are quick to remind us, don't say a damn word about my people, our plight, and what we have going on? How can you not respect a people that do the things that we don't do? How can you not respect that? No matter how I feel about history and certain politics that goes into these people having that power, how could you not respect when a group of people is on code? You know what? You should admire those people. We know who those people are that I'm speaking of. As Dr. Umar Johnson said, they are the untouchables. But I won't just say it's the untouchables. What about the Asian community? What about the European Caucasian community? What about so many communities that come here, including Indian, that comes here and stay on code? It's you folks that cannot stay on code. As a matter of fact, we found so many ways to justify our differences to not keep us united. Like the Tariq Nasheeds of the world with his FBA movement. There would be nothing wrong with that if that movement wasn't emphasized on getting down and criticizing your other brothers and sisters from the diaspora. All we know is division politics. These are the things that Malcolm X preached against, some of your greatest leaders and minds preached against, and knew it would be our crutch. So yeah, while I have a sympathy for my brother Kyrie Irving and your brother Kanye West, it's hard for me to forget Kanye West running around here making a video as gold diggers, only to end up being that person that left your ass for a white girl, as he so famously claimed in that song. He was that brother chasing them bunnies. Then Kyrie, up until recently, now you're a man that have all this knowledge. Well, even if you had a taste of this knowledge, you would understand I have enough to say, you know what, guys? Thank you, but no thank you, because your reputation will never be honored in that league. I don't care if you play another 7-10 more years. With that type of understanding, I would hit the road with what I have amassed and start my own thing, even if it's not basketball, because we're more than damn athletes. Why not start other things, other endeavors? The clout of the name and the weight it holds around the world, it is so much endeavors you can partake in. But for some reason, you guys will make an excuse about being top athletes just to stay close to Massa. And Massa gonna keep having y'all kiss the ring. You know, there's a YouTuber on here that I think a lot of you guys should pay attention to. His name is Neferkari Dessalines. That's the name of his channel, Neferkari T. Dessalines. And he said that loud and clear the other day. These black men have no platforms, so never be surprised when they bend down and kiss the ring. This is the way it's set up. Imagine if you had your own platform. Imagine if we had a group, not a group, the majority of our people that was on code. So when other folks come into our house, whether that realm be in words that they're speaking or physically in our spaces, and we get to come together and codify, not take their monies, but check them and humiliate them. The way they want to humiliate and emasculate Kyrie Irving. At least your boy Kanye gave his cheap ass apology and ain't been down for nobody. Those tears he was giving was for you black people, but of course, it's not good enough. Just like Kyrie Irving's apology wasn't good enough for the so-called, I'll say undefeated people. I know Dr. Umar said something else. I'll say the undefeated people. They are undefeated right now because they are codified. So I say this again, Stephen Jackson deciding to stand with Kyrie Irving shouldn't move a needle on your moral compass. It shouldn't move it at all. This is still the man that picks and chooses when that moral compass hits its mark. The same man who's damn near 50 years old runs to O Block and tries to promote checking in to the youth, as if that hasn't been detrimental for how many years. So this is basically a nothing burger. This is a nothing burger. And I'm telling you this, don't get fooled by that, because the main faces that you need to stand up are the ones not standing up. So a Stephen Jackson who has been sold out, who has been preaching detrimental politics, is not the person that we should now all of a sudden uphold in the light because he's supporting Kyrie Irving. My brother, you ain't nothing, Stephen Jackson, because the majority of us was supporting Kyrie Irving. We just don't have the names that you guys have. And Stephen Jackson, don't wait until you start a podcast with Matt Barnes and now that you see it successful, you want to talk your shit. Because when you had the time to talk your shit, these last several years, you've been doing nothing but wanting to fit in with the detrimental community of the rappers, detrimental community of the lost ones, detrimental community of our youth who is plighted with ignorance, and you wanted to sit with them and continue the foolishness that they were pushing, rather than letting them know the kings that they really are, and not just saying it weakly, but letting them know and reinforcing it with real history, real knowledge, real power, real structure, telling them to turn from their ways. Instead, you cemented their ignorant frame of mind by teaching us how to check in on the hood. Guys, I gotta leave you. I got daddy duties, but I could not ignore what I just saw. This is another diversion tactic for us thinking we got real men standing on the ground with Kyrie. What's the point of standing with Kyrie now after he kissed the ring? I repeat again, what's the point of standing with Kyrie now after he kissed the ring? That's the only time we come show you your love, after you've been defeated, humiliated, and ridiculed. No, the time to stand up and say something was when Kyrie was at the heat of it, when he refused to back down, waiting for any brother to stand with him, anybody, and none of you Negro coons did. So after he's been humiliated and defeated and emasculated in front of the world center stage, that's when you want to speak out and say you stand with Kyrie. Stephen Jackson, you and all your plantation buckaroos, hit the road. This has been your boy gravitating away with a really true, passionate conversation. This is how I really feel. Tap in with me if you feel the same. YouTube has been hating on the algorithm, and I'm telling you guys, help me push this motion. I'll give you more work. I'll give you more knowledge when it comes to this. Mind you, I'm the same as everybody else. Another space for us to divulge in and really break down these depths and layers of coonery that they are giving us time and time again. Tap in with your boy, and I promise I won't let you down. I am going to steer the course. I am going to steer the course. It's us who really have nothing to lose down here that are the real voices of this so-called struggle and movement. Not these guys that have everything, but nonetheless still kiss that ring. One.